I would like to now ask Mrs. Mary Caple to give the valedictory address.
Thank you. Deputy Chancellor Weiner, Chairman Hebert, President and Vice Chancellor Shepard, Dr. Hebert, distinguished guests and participants, fellow students, families and friends, it is my absolute pleasure to address you today on behalf of the graduating students. Bienvenue à tous. J'aimerais transmettre mes plus sincères félicitations à tous mes collègues. This ceremony and this day and this year mark exciting times for myself and the other newly minted graduates in this room. These times mark years of dedication, of growing up, of successes small and large, and now they mark the achievement of completing our degrees and diplomas at Concordia. Congratulations. This year particularly, 2014, represents another benchmark occasion for all here today. It is a year of commemoration for the community we joined when we began our education at this university. It was 40 years ago this summer that Concordia was formed through the union of Sir George Williams and Loyola, institutions both with their own rich histories here in Montreal. Anniversaries such as this one, much like graduation and convocation ceremonies such as this one, compel us to reflect upon where time has taken us since day or year one, since we received acceptance letters, since we said our last goodbyes for years or just the day, since we navigated our way across the country or province, along metro lines and bus routes and bicycle lanes, up escalators and around floors to our first classes. And so it probably comes as no surprise that as a history student, I dug into the archives while preparing this address. And when I did, I came upon a passage by the late John O'Brien, Rector and Vice Chancellor of Concordia at its inception in 1974. Responding to those who argued that the task of creating our university from two separate entities was too daunting, he said that when you join together two lively institutions, each with its own philosophies and ways of doing things, each firmly dedicated to freedom of thought and speech, you must expect a measure of creative friction. We look forward now to a new period of creative friction. And I think today we graduates look forward to a new period of creative friction. And by this, I mean to speak to my belief that the most rewarding accomplishments and experiences are often the result of either creating that friction ourselves, by being unafraid to share our work with others and carefully consider opinions that differ from our own, by being unafraid to speak out when we disagree, or secondly, the result of meeting head-on the frictions foisted upon us by the contingencies of life, from the crucial library book missing at the final hour to the death of a family member, and realizing that these periods of friction are the times in which we learn and grow. And it is my sincere hope that as we graduate, we remain vigilant and aware and assiduously search out productive creative friction with compassion amongst our circles old and new, and those we have yet to encounter. And so while now is the time as ever to be proud of ourselves and what we have achieved thus far, we can also be proud of an institution that 40 years later continues to champion that same commitment to freedom of thought and speech that John O'Brien admired so much. We can be proud of an institution whose leaders speak out, and spoke out against legislation this past year that threatened the freedom of expression of our diverse and cherished Concordia community. And this is a community we will continue to be a part of after we leave this room. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, as we celebrate a graduation and an anniversary, we also reflect and look back upon those many times that our loved ones, our friends and families, professors and staff members, and fellow students at Concordia have weathered the storms of our personal frictions, have loved us and supported us and carried us to this pivotal day. Thank you and merci from the very bottom of our hearts and minds. Thank you.
Mary, thank you for sharing your thoughts in your address. I wish you great luck in all your future endeavors, and thank you for reminding us this day that Concordia is 40 years young. Thank you, and good luck.